Okay guys, in this screencast we're going to have a quick look at the need to knows of cellular respiration. In the diagram here we have a picture of the mitochondria. Looks a little bit like a squashed peanut brain, but it's actually an organelle in a cell. So this organelle is sitting in the cytoplasm. It has cytoplasm all around it. It's got an outer membrane similar to a cell membrane that controls the substances going in and out of it. The fluid in the middle is called the matrix, and this folded membrane all around it is the cristae, and that, like all good folded membranes, has a really high surface area. Really good for one part of the process of cellular respiration. So until now we've probably looked at respiration as an overall summary equation. We're going to break it down a bit further and look at three main stages of respiration, those being glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. And it's important to realise that each of these stages is actually a complex series of reactions. There's a lot more going on that we'll probably look at this year. Okay, let's have a look at the first stage, which is the glycolysis. It occurs in the cytoplasm. It starts off with glucose, and we can see it written there. It's written with as a 6 carbon. That just means it has a structure with 6 carbons. And basically, it's to be very simple, it's sort of almost splitting in two and forming 3 carbon molecules called pyruvic acid or pyruvate. We have during this stage the production of 2 ATP molecules, but I suppose there's not a large energy gain, and it's really just providing the pyruvic acid for the next stage. The next stage is the Krebs cycle, and for the Krebs cycle to occur, pyruvate needs to be changed to acetyl coenzyme A, and this change or transformation is sometimes called a transition reaction, and it allows it to enter into the matrix of the mitochondria and participate in the Krebs cycle. Now, Krebs cycle is a complex series of reactions forming lots of different molecules, and as these carbon molecules go around the cycle, carbon dioxide is being released. And if we take out of a molecule that contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, take carbon dioxide out, it leaves us with hydrogen. And the hydrogen is a very important molecule for the next stage, and it's carried to the next stage by 2 carrier molecules. One's called NAD and one's called FAD. And they pick up and carry it to the membrane of the cristae for the electron transport chain. Okay, our last stage is the electron transport chain, and this occurs on the cristae, which is that folded membrane on the inside of the mitochondria. It has lots of proteins in there, and as the hydrogen-carrying molecules come in, it undergoes a series of reactions, and really what happens is our hydrogen molecules get transported, and we load up the ions on one side. We end up with all these hydrogen ions on one side. And as we go down the reaction, there's a whole series of reactions that happen down the membranes. At the very last stage, all these hydrogen ions can come flooding back down, and they can produce lots of molecules of ATP. Now, it's where our ADP uses this to create energy in the bonds to form ATP. Now, at the end of this process, we will have lots of hydrogen ions left, and what happens is our oxygen molecules come in, they pick up that hydrogen ion, and one of our byproducts here is water. So let's look at this as a bit of an overview. We know we start as glucose. It's a 6 carbon molecule. It has 6 carbon molecules. It breaks down to form 2 molecules of pyruvate in glycolysis. There's that transition reaction that forms acetyl coenzyme A, and that participates in the Krebs cycle. We go around lots of different turns of the Krebs cycle. You know, we do end up producing carbon dioxide. And one of the main things is that our hydrogen transporting molecules are transporting the hydrogen to this electron transport chain. We go through all our series of reactions down here, loading up all our hydrogen ions on one side, and the main thing is at the end it can release and form lots of molecules of ATP. Okay? In the end, we have a whole lot of hydrogen ions that are left by themselves. They're picked up by oxygen, and hydrogen and oxygen is forming water. Okay, and they're our main products. Now remember, in glycolysis, we have 2 ATP molecules. In the Krebs cycle, we produce 2 ATP molecules. Electron transport chain, anywhere between 32 and 34. And that gives us a grand total of producing between 36 and 38 molecules of ATP. So let's just have a quick look at this from the perspective of the mitochondria. We know that glycolysis is happening out in the cytoplasm. In the matrix here, in the fluid here, that's where the Krebs cycle is happening. And it's these membranes along here, these cristae, where all that energy production is happening in the electron transport chain. So to wrap things up, let's just look at this in terms of our cellular respiration equation. The main purpose of the process is to break down glucose and produce energy. So we're breaking down glucose, okay, that goes into the glycolysis to pyruvate. When we get to the Krebs cycle, these carbon atoms go around and we're basically removing the carbon, the oxygen in carbon dioxide, and that's released. Okay. The hydrogen ions are going all the way to the electron transport chain. And it's those hydrogen ions that are picked up by the oxygen to form water. And that's where all that energy is produced, somewhere between 36 and 38 molecules of ATP. Good luck with studying cellular respiration. I hope you respire well.